I started a different group, and I asked some students who are keen on having a personal transformation. When you talk about personal transformation, what does transformation mean to you? Right? Transformation is basically in every aspect of life, be it at work, be it in your family life, be it with your personal well-being in terms of health, in terms of wealth, in terms of there is never a scenario where we are always perfect. There's always room for improvement, and we should always be in the journey of continuous improvement. You know, and and after a while, there are many. I myself kind of have been through this personal transformation journey, and it's never enough for me. It never ends for me. That we constantly are exploring how can we get better in various aspects of things. And that is what true happiness is all about. Won't you agree? True happiness is not just earning a certain income or living in a certain way, fancy house, or maybe uh, uh, at the best location or going to the best restaurants. But it's about exploring what lies beyond. It's about understanding how you can improve each day and every time, right? Now, when we talk about this exploratory journey, we talk about improvement. How do you get there? How can you get there? How can you become the better version of yourself, right? And if you look at people who kind of enjoy their life, they kind of enjoy what they do, and you look at them today, you look at them after a year, you will see a massive transformation. They have gone. They have improved a lot in terms of skills, in terms of their knowledge. Why does this happen? Why do you think this happens? Can anyone tell me? How does transformation happen in your chat box? What, according to you, helps a person to transform for the good? Goals, experience, okay. But what is it that constantly keeps pushing you to do better in life? Okay. Or you would say you might have the best of things with you, you might have the best of job, but still you need to do that better thing. You need to improve. Uh, you strive for more, right? You never come out of those things which help you to be successful, right? So there is one thing that people urge of learning when you realize you're lagging. Okay, let's say you're not lagging. Let's say you are doing better, and it's going great for you, but you still want to keep doing. Like, for example, people who run marathons, right? It's not that they do not run marathon. They constantly keep running a marathon, but they constantly keep practicing. They constantly keep doing it every single day. Champions, champion performers, they constantly, every single day, they keep practicing, and they are not really bothered if they are facing a big match, or there's a lot of pressure, because for them it's just going out there and doing that same thing which they have been doing every single day. Okay, and is that motivation? Does motivation help you to do it? My question to you is, do you think motivation helps you to transform? Okay, I see a lot of people saying yes to motivation basically will just give you an understanding of what it is to be successful, right? But motivation will not push you every single day. And I always keep telling this in my class as well, that motivation is in, available in a very limited time frame. It's not possible for humans to be motivated all the time. Is it possible that people can be motivated at all times? We just cannot. It's not possible. And for that, the opposite of it, or the other aspect of it that really pushes us every single time, is not motivation, is discipline, right? It's discipline. When you have discipline to do something, you don't wait for an excuse to get up and do it. Consider the actions that you perform every single day. Do you need to think that, oh, today I'm not motivated, so I will not go to work? I am not motivated today, so I will not save money. I am not motivated today, so I will not eat healthy food. I am not motivated today, so I will not, kind of follow the hygiene factors. You do it, right? Why do you do it? Because you realize that these are things that you need to do on a daily, every single day. I am not motivated, so I will not love my kids or I will not love my parents, right? There is a certain discipline to it. And it is an subconscious decision, subconscious action that works into your mind where you don't, no one comes to you explicitly and tells you, right? It has become part of your muscle memory, right? And that is what we say, that if you want to focus on improvement, if you want to focus on transformation, you first identify what are the things that are required for your transformation, right? And then how can you make those things, how can those things get into your muscle memory? So even if you are low on motivation, even if there are issues where you're not able to do it, there is discipline that sets into your system, which kind of, gets you going in auto mode. What is autopilot? Autopilot is that person will keep doing those things without anyone's comments, without anyone's advice. He does not need motivation. He does not need to see motivational videos or read motivational books, or he does not need a motivational coach. I get up in the morning every single day at a certain time and I run 4 to 5 to 6 kilometers, right? Be it monsoon, be it sun, be it winter, any kind of thing. It's not, it's not because I am motivated. No, it is because there is a discipline of me within me that every single morning I need to get up and go. If I'm traveling outside, let's say I'm traveling for some work or pleasure, for 2 days, if I don't do this routine of running, then I feel agitated. I feel that something is missing. It is similar to, people who don't get their daily cup of tea or daily cup of coffee. You see them, how they get agitated. So they just feel that they cannot function. It's the same for me. And it is the same for me in terms of going for a run or listening to books or reading books or saving money. Those disciplines have been set into all those aspects. So, what is this and how it does happen? And that's why discipline comes from when you master your habit. So, if you look at our lives, every action that we perform in our life, like I said, getting up in the morning, having a cup of tea or coffee, brushing our teeth, going to work, even picking up the route that we have to go to work, even picking up the choice of going to work by a bus, by a train, by a bike, by a car. It's all of these are one or the other habits, one after the other, that we keep performing. Don't you agree? These are our habits, and we don't think about these habits, right? We don't think about it. We are, mindless of it. It's in our subconscious mind. We don't do it consciously, but it keeps happening. Do we need effort to get up and do the things that we need to do every single day? No, we don't need effort. And that's the first thing that we need to understand. To build very strong habits within you, those habits will be ingrained into your system when those habits are done effortlessly. So when I say that I go for a run or I read these many books or I save that much money, for a third party, for a second person, it might look a lot of effort. But the beauty is for the person who's doing it, who keeps doing it, it is all effortless. And that's the reason when we look at some people who do certain things, some people work 14 hours a day. Some people do crazy amount of workout. Get amazed. It all looks like magic to us, but it is not magic. It is just that these people have found, or these people have automated all those actions that looks miraculous to others. They have automated those actions into them, which has become their daily life. All right. And if you look at our lives are nothing but a profusion of habits stacked one after the other. Isn't it so? If you just realize, excellence is when you identify the bad habits and convert them. See, your habits don't know that what is good or what is bad. If you pick up a bad thing, and if you do that bad thing for 5 days or 7 days, automatically your body will crave to do that every single day, because it does not it does not differentiate between the good and the bad, right? Your body will automatically crave for it for the eighth day. If you are drinking alcohol for 6 days, 7 days straight, for the eighth day, automatically you want alcohol, because now it has become a habit. And it is upon us to identify. That's why I said first you need to identify consciously what are the things that you want to do without being scared about it, without having two thoughts about it. It's you have to think like a bull. You have to stop using your mind. You just have to write down and say, these are the 5 things or 4 things I want to be good at. So we look at various topics. We will look at all these things together. Now, what are the important tenets of habit formation? What is it that you need to understand? And there was a beautiful quote by this philosopher, the Japanese philosopher Lao Tzu. He said that when I said that, you cannot differentiate between the good and the bad, but how does the bad or the good become a habit? It all starts with what we think. It all starts with what we think. What kind of thoughts are we feeding into our mind? If today you just sit and you just shut down from the world, and if you just say, I am only going to sit and think positive, or let's say I'm going to take a diary and I'm going to write positive things. You do that for a day. You don't have to think, just write down the good things. And you will automatically see yourself feeling so positive, feeling so good. You want to do something good. But at the same time, if you consistently feed your mind with negative thoughts that comes from news, that comes from social media, that comes from people who are negative, people who pass on these negative vibes, so always doubting themselves, doubting others, right? If you are constantly placing yourself within those thoughts, you will automatically have negative thoughts, right? Now, your thoughts, if you keep feeding in, garbage out, you know. And Lao Tzu said, watch your thoughts as they become your words, because what you think, you eventually start talking that way, right? And what you speak eventually turns into action. You start acting that way. And your actions then becomes your habit. Every time you keep saying that and doing that, eventually it becomes your habit. And that habits eventually becomes your character. How do people, just tell me, how do people, if a third party, if your uncle, aunt, your relative, or your friend, or your colleague has to talk about you, how will they describe you? They will basically describe you based on your behavior, your action, and something that we call as character. Yes or no in the chat box? They will start defining you in terms of your character, right? Now you go reverse in this. They will talk about your character. Where does your character come from? Or why do they see your character as good or bad? It is because the things that you do. If you are kind with them, if you are helpful to them, they will look at you as a person who's helpful, kind, respectful, trustworthy, loyal, right? But if you are rude to them, they will always see your character as someone who's not helpful, or someone who's selfish, or anything of that sort. So they think of your character because of the actions that you do, and your actions are basically coming from what you constantly speak, right? Can someone always speak good things and not be doing the good right thing? Or can someone always be speaking negatively, but he's doing positive things always? No. Your actions come from your words. And where are these words coming from? It's the way you think. And why we say reading or speaking with mentors or having a mentor or having a coach is useful because from reading you get tons of information of people's success stories or experiences of how they probably changed certain aspects in their life. When we sit down with people, when you speak with mentors, you understand their experiences and you that kind of rubs on to you, it starts feeding into your mind. All right. So it all starts from your thoughts. And it's a circle, right? And once you have built your character, which has become your destiny, you look at successful people. Successful people are always talking about good thoughts, right? Right or wrong? So that is what it is. Habits do not differentiate between the good and bad, as I said. What you feed in comes out as a final product. At every stage, understand the problem and enhance the circle. You might be a person who is experiencing some problems. Everyone experiences some problems. You can either say that this problem will turn my life upside down, or you can be a person who says, okay, great, I've got a problem now. This means I have an opportunity to learn about the problem and find a solution. These are two thoughts, these are two approaches to the same problem. You can either say that I am doomed, I cannot go beyond this problem, or you can say, even if I fail, let me try to learn from the problem. Let me learn what I will get or understand from this, and what then I can probably tell someone else about it. Okay. And if you are into a feedback loop who keeps having these negative thoughts, and because of which that negative self-talk, and the difference between people who are successful, the people who are able to transform their lives, is not that they haven't come across issues, but the difference are there are people who are able to come and solve their issues or resolve their problems, and the people who just go back on seeing problems. That people are just able to accept problems, work around solutions, and some people just don't want to do it. You develop habits with your repeated actions and not from your inspiration. How long will inspiration will keep you going? 31st December or a new year, 1st of January is a great inspiration for a lot of people to get up and go into the gym. But that inspiration will last for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. That's it. And then what happens? A new salary or an increment in a salary is a great inspiration for people to plan and say that, okay, I will start saving now. But then what happens to the inspiration after a certain time? Looking at a good, healthy guy around you or looking at some influencer is a good inspiration to say that even I'll get healthy today. But after a while, it all goes down. Where's the inspiration? How much has inspiration taken? Probably you listen to me today and say that, okay, Roshan has spoken great, and let me find out some habits which I want to change today. Your inspiration should not be me, it should not be Roshan Shetty. It should be the things, the actions which I have given you. So it's important that you focus on identifying the actions and then keep repeating them. If you put a measurement or if you put a condition that you will only repeat the actions if they are successful, then you will not be able to repeat them. Often we often give up on actions that we want to get into motion and put them into habit. Has everyone heard about Warren Buffett? Yes. Now I was talking about how will you ask people to define yourself. Let's define Warren Buffett here. Who is Warren Buffett? Can you tell me? Why do we why do we all know about Warren Buffett, or why do we know about any successful person? Let's stick to Warren Buffett. Why do we know Warren Buffett? It's because he's among the richest, he's a great investor. But do you think that has happened overnight for him? Now, do you know when did Warren Buffett start with investing? He started at the age of 10 years. And he has been investing. So if he's about 85, 86, 87, whatever today, that means he's been investing since 76 years. He's not investing because he wants money. He does it today, or he's been doing it because that's become a habit for him. He's been doing it because that has become a habit for him. Right? Now, can you tell me what was his net worth at the age of 50? And he started at the age of 10. Can you take a guess? His net worth at the age of 50 was not even 1 billion. But everything that he did from the age of 10 started giving him results after the age of 50 with a phenomenon that we call as compounding. From the age of 50 to 80, 85, whatever he is today, his wealth only compounded. Perform habits, we think that we need to remember habits. And we think that habits, we see habits as a very strict master. We think habits is a very strict professor. No, that's not the way. Because habits is not stored in your memory that you have to always think and do. Habits are stored in a region called the basal ganglia of the brain, okay, which is not your memory, but the basal ganglia is an area which records all your muscle memory. If you lose all your memory, if you happen to lose all your memory, you can still develop habits, new habits, even if you lose all your memory, because the actions that you do is not stored in the mind, it's stored in the basal ganglia, which forces you to, keeps helps you to repeat. So you will keep doing things, you not remember. And this is the fun part, and this is science. I'm talking science. You will not remember what you had done, but you will be able to perform the action. Right? So all we need to do to develop habits is to ensure that we keep repeating it so that our body picks up those actions and it keeps doing it once it's in motion. And that's why we say that it takes 21 days to form a habit, or it takes 20 days, or it takes 14 days. You all might have heard about those, right? Why it takes 14 days, 21 days? This is the reason. You're not memorizing in those 14 days or 20 days. You're only allowing your body, your muscle memory to kind of grab every action so that it becomes automatic. Now let's look at these people. Who are these people? Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Now, what do we know about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos? We all know that they are billionaires. They are the world's richest, top two, top three richest people in the world. But how did they start? How did they start, or how does any successful person, get to the start, and how do people turn into success? What do you think? So typically, if you look at two concepts, one is time and one is results. And let's say you want to start a business, and there is time and there are results, right? And you expect something. Now, what we expect how things should happen, we think that as time goes, as time starts, the results will improve. Yes or no? Do we not think this way? This is an expectation. We say that if I start a business today, I will not expect great results from day one or day two. But as time goes, I want to see results. So as time goes, we expect that, I will do this, and with time, it will get better. So I will become a successful businessman or a business lady, or I will lose weight, or I will save a lot of money, and all of that. But what is reality? Can anyone tell me what is reality? In reality, what happens? In reality, we start, and for a lot of amount of time, can you see this blue line? Can you see this blue line? It is completely flat. It is not taking off. Our expectation is the orange line. In our mind, we think that we will start something, we will learn, we will invest time, money, energy, a lot of things. And because we have invested, it will keep increasing gradually. And this blue line is the reality. It is going this way. And then at this point, maybe you got some business or maybe some little bit of you keep doing it. Okay. You're not stopped till now. But and then you see a very small marginal improvement. And then you say, Hey boss, I had expected this thing, orange line, but this is a blue line. Because of this blue line, what happens? Frustrated. Yes. We get into this valley of disappointment. Is it not? Yes. Yes. We self evaluate. And in that valley of disappointment, we start thinking, am I the right fit? I've joined this job. I had a lot of expectations, but 6 months have gone by. No one is even looking at me. My boss is not acknowledging my work. Or I've started this business, nothing is happening. I've not got a single customer. Or I have been working out for last 3 weeks. I'm going to the gym. I have not lost even a single kilo. I look the same. Am I at the right place? I have been investing in stock market for last 6 months. Forget about earning money, but I'm losing money. Right? We get these questions. Yes or no, guys? This is reality. Isn't this the reality? Do we not think this way? You begin to question your identity and process. Am I doing it correctly? And then you lose patience. How long should I do it? Everything is blank in front of me. I expected the orange line. But I'm getting the blue line. All these questions come. We get into the valley of disappointment. There is a saying, there was an experiment, very short behavioral experiment which was conducted. Okay. There was this coach and he was he was talking to his team, he was talking to his group whom he was coaching, and he told his team members or he told his group to get some ice from the fridge. Okay. And they bought some cubes of ice, they kept it out. And the temperature was 22 degrees. And then the coach asked his team, is the ice melting? The group looked at the ice and said, no, sir, it's not melting. Then they said, okay, let's do one thing. Let's increase the temperature. Let's make the temperature 25 degrees. And they made it 25 degrees. And they looked at it. And the coach asked again, is the ice melting? And the group looked at the ice again and said, no, sir, it's not melting yet. Then the coach said, let's do one thing. Let's increase it to 28 degrees. And they said, let's look at the ice now. The team looked at the ice and said that, sir, it has only got a bit moist, but it's not melting. Someone said, I don't think, sir, it's going to melt. Should we put the ice back into the fridge? Should we put the ice back into the fridge? The coach said, let's wait. Let's increase the temperature to 32 degrees. They waited for few seconds and the coach asked, is the ice melting now? The team said, sir, it's just kind of getting slightly moisture, but it's not melting. The coach said, let's wait for another 10-15 seconds. They waited for another 10-15 seconds and then they saw the ice melting at 32 degrees. If they had kept the cubes back during 25 degrees or 28 degrees, would they be able to see the ice melt? If they put the bowl of ice cubes back into the fridge, do you think they would have been able to get to the result of seeing the ice being melted? Absolutely not. Do you think the ice would have melted only at 32 degrees? Or do you think the ice would have melted immediately if I change the temperature directly to 32 degrees? Would it have melted immediately in 15 seconds from the time I bought it out in the fridge? And if I change the temperature to 32 degrees immediately, would the ice have melted? Always remember this. If something in life is not working for you, you have planned to do something. Maybe a body transformation, maybe, create wealth. You need to know what is the temperature that works for you. You need to find out your 32 degrees, right? You need to find out when it will happen for you. It's the same with me. It's the same with me as well. It's the same for everyone. These two individuals, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, do you think they did not have any problems? They also came out with ice cubes and they kept it out. They also came out with ice cubes. They had their own ice cubes, right? And those ice cubes were challenges, hurdles. They kept just waiting. They did not give up. And that's the reason today their reality is something else. They have been, you look at Jeff Bezos, who says that I had to sleep on the shop floor. I had to sleep on the business. Everyone must have seen Jeff Bezos' picture when he started Amazon, just a small desk. And when he's taking orders from a small desk. So you need to understand, forget Jeff Bezos and forget Elon Musk. What about you? Do you know where does your ice melt? You have to find it out. And why a lot of people drop, why a lot of people give up in the valley of disappointment is because most of us are fixated on the outcome of results than focusing on the method, than focusing on the process. Rather, every single day, instead of saying that, have I reached my goal? Instead of saying every single day or asking yourself, have I reached my goal? Keep asking how much I have improved from yesterday or how better I have been since yesterday. That is the question you need to ask. That is the question. And automatically, then goal becomes a secondary attribute. You're not focusing on a fixed number or a target. You're focusing on how much you have improved since yesterday. Right? Can we all do that? Whatever you want to do in life. I have not reached the weight that I have reached today, but I have lost 100 grams since yesterday. I have not become rich. I have not got 1 crore in my bank balance, but I have 10,000 rupees saved at least in my account, which I did not have yesterday. Right? If you want to become better at having relations with people, if you want to become better at gaining people's trust, right? Not everyone in your office will respect you immediately, but there are two people who know you today because of some work that you did for them. So, what are the habits to focus on? If you focus on outcome based habits, habits are of different types, different nature. Are you focusing on habits? Are you saying that I want to lose 20 kg or I want to increase my sales by 10% or I want to get an increment? Those are just outcome based habits because outcomes will disappoint you. Outcomes will disappoint you. Rather, focus on process. What are the things that you're doing for outcomes? And where does the process comes from? It is based on your identity, the person that you want to become. Instead of saying I want to lose 10 kgs, 20 kgs, say that I want to be a person who's absolutely healthy. If you want to say that I want to save 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, Say that you want to be a person who's financially independent. So how do I manage my finances who doesn't have to bother upon a salary or an income? I left my job at the age of 40, having a family, and I started my business because the goal is to be financially independent and not depend on salary income sources. That's the identity I want to create myself. Often we look at the outer layer, often we look at the black circle. And if we don't get that, we leave that habit away. But instead, if you are saying, what is it I want to become? Who do I want to be? How do I want people to think of me? People don't think of you or talk about you in numbers. Do people say, अरे ये देखो 20 किलो कम किया हुआ रमेश आया है? नहीं. He says, look at this Ramesh, he has become so fit and he is following a great routine. That's your identity. You look at any successful person today, do you remember him always for his bank balance, or do you remember him for what he does? Do we spoke about Warren Buffett? We don't remember Warren Buffett because he has 100 billion. That is important. I'm not saying that is not. But we remember him more as an investor, as a person who has this crazy habit of investing since being a child. We remember Elon Musk for his creativity, for the ways he wants to change his world, because that is how he has made his identity. You look at Elon Musk talking anytime, he's least bothered about the wealth that he has. I'm not a Elon Musk fan or I'm not against Elon Musk, but I'm just talking about the person's nature. So people focus on creating their identities, not on chasing numbers or chasing targets. Every single day you have your breakfast, you speak to people, you go to office because you have built an identity about in your family. Your family looks at you as a person who's responsible. That's why you go to office. Not because that you get money and give it in your hand, right? You look at yourself as a responsible person. That's why you do it regularly. That's how habits are built. Subconsciously, we the things that we do, everything that we do is today based on our identity. And if I go to the first point that we spoke about, it comes from our thoughts, which turns into words. Those words that we speak turn into action. That action that we do turns into behavior. And that becomes a character and a destiny. That becomes our identity. Anything that we start in the day, don't you think that is because of a trigger? Yes or no? Example, we want a cup of tea at a specific time of the day. सुबह के 9 बज के मतलब चाय चाहिए, right? If we want to leave office for home, then it has to be 6:30, right? If that time crosses, then suddenly we get irritated, right? If we have to speak with our family members, or if we want to enjoy, if you want to go for a movie, if you want to go out, generally it is on the weekend. So every action, this action of, having a cup of tea, leaving from office for home, or going out to enjoy is based on a certain cue, isn't it? And then that cue reminds us that we need to do something. That cue reminds us that we need to do something. That is the habit that we keep repeating. You look at some people, and even we'll have some peculiar habits. We'll have some very peculiar habits. And even if it might irritate some others, and they will tell us don't do it, we keep doing it because we are habituated. And that habit comes from certain cues, right? So we get into action. And why do we do it? Because we get some reward. Chai peene se, we feel we get fresh. we get activated, right? Leaving home on time from the office, the reward is that we can spend time with family members. Going out on a weekend, the reward is what? Enjoyment, happiness, pleasure, whatever you call it. So every habit that we do today, or every habit that you plan to do in the future, it starts with some trigger where you do some action and it leads into a reward. Now tell me something, if you did not have a reward, some kind of reward, would you do it again? And typically, what is that reward that we are looking for? Typically, what is the reward that we are looking for? It's a dopamine hit. That reward is typically a dopamine hit, which gives us pleasure, which gives us a confirmation कि ये हाँ ये करना चाहिए. Why do we go to work? Why do we go to work for a salary? Because there's a queue. The queue is that we want to have a status symbol. We want a house. We want a car. We want to travel. We want to wear good clothes. Because of that, we act. We have an action of going to work. And after doing all that, if you did not have a reward, would you go to work the next day? Absolutely not. And that's exactly how our habits work. We do every single thing because there is a reward. So Q is trigger that identifies the reward. And after a time, when you constantly keep doing it, the action becomes automatic. So the action is performing the desired action and the reward is satisfies us and teaches us to enforce. So जब हमें reward मिलता है, we say, okay, man, we should keep doing this. So we'll get something. Keep doing this so we get something. And then after a period of time, what happens is we forget the action. The moment there is a cue, we think of the reward and automatically the action comes out. The moment we get up in the morning, we think we have to get fresh. Automatically हम चाय पीने चले जाते हैं. The moment we think that we have to increase our status in life, we know that we have to get more money. So we automatically start working harder, keep working. The moment we realize that, some people who want to get healthy or are in the process, for me, getting up in the morning is a cue to get healthy. So the action is automatic of going for a run or working out. So there is a strategy called as make your habits obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. How do we make? So we said now that to do an action, we need a cue, we need a trigger. So how do you make that trigger obvious? Time and location, visible and noticeable cues. If you want to read, if you want to become knowledgeable, if you want to get education, learning, have books in front of you. Make it easy. I got into the habit. I wrote this book out of the shoe rack. My second book was on habits, writing out of the shoe rack. And I mentioned in the book that I got into the habit of running because my shoes, I purposely kept my shoes outside the shoe rack. For months, it was kept inside the shoe rack. It was not in front of my eyes. Right? The day I started keeping it out, it reminded me that I have to go and put it. So I made these cues obvious in my surrounding. At the same time, if you want to get rid of the bad habits, if you have a bad habit of eating junk food, take out all the junk food from your visibility. Take out all the junk food from your visibility. If you want to create wealth, if you want to save regularly, right, set up an auto debit so that without you doing anything, it gets debited from your account. Right? Make them attractive. Like you said, you will only do those things if you are rewarded. So how can you hack your habits to get rewarded? So You purposely create cheat days. Have you heard of cheat days? Have you heard of cheat days? See, we have a very limited willpower. Like I said, we have a very limited level of willpower, motivation, and all that, right? We cannot go on and on and on and on and on always. So we need to say that, okay, fine. If I work out 5 days a week, I will allow myself to eat sweet or eat what I want on the sixth or seventh day. So what is happening? You're telling your mind, if you want to get rewarded by some junk food, work out for 5 days. Then one day you can treat yourself. If you want to, if you are a person who spends a lot of time online or watching movies on Netflix, and you feel that you're not able to spend a lot of time, in learning, and you're only procrastinating, then keep a cheat day saying, I only watch Netflix if I read for 5 days. So what you're doing, you're purposely creating a reward system for yourself, saying that अगर ये होगा तो मैं अपने आप को reward करूंगा. So now you're working for the reward because humans always are reward driven. We always like rewards. It gives us a reinforcement. And see, we have a larger goal in life, right? Our goal will be 5 years, 10 years. We cannot be motivated for that larger goal. But in between, every single day, every single week, have a small win. Celebrate your small win. Create small wins. Create small wins. That small win will help you during the valley of disappointment. That small win helps us when we are down in the valley of disappointment. Because it creates a reinforcement system. You get a dopamine hit. We all understand dopamine hit, right? Pleasure. Purposely give pleasures to yourself in between, but do the action. Make it easy. Make it easy. How do you make it easy? When I tell people get into the habit of reading books, okay, everyone says, yes, sir, I bought these books, I'll start reading it. The mistake that they do is day one, they will start reading a lot. Day two, they will read. Day three, they'll say, अरे यार इतना पढ़ना पड़ेगा, बोर हो रहा है. Then they read less. Then fourth day, it's even lesser, and so on. But instead, slowly build it up. Slowly build it up. Even if you can read one chapter, just read one page on day one. And you will find one page is so easy. Your mind should say, "Arey, ye to easy tha yaar. My target today was only one page." Second day, come back, read just one page. Even if you want to read 2 pages, don't read it. Just read one page. Third day, increase it to 2 pages. Fourth day, you do 2 pages again. Fifth day, you increase your third page. So instead of, and the same thing happens in the gym. We go to the gym, first day, we want to do everything. We want to do weights, we want to do cardio, we want to start a diet, everything. सब कुछ एक साथ करना है. आज मैं fit बनूंगा. Second day क्या हो रहा है? You're not able to get up, but you still drag yourself. अरे नहीं यार, membership पैसा दिया हुआ है, gym जाना पड़ेगा. You literally that. Third day, it is becoming a mountain to climb. So please don't do that. Start with very small thing. If you want to, people who say that I want to, sort my life out. Coaches ask them, are you able to sort your bed every morning? Start with that. You will think, what is the link of, sorting my bed to sorting my life? There's a huge link. Sorting your bed every single morning makes you feel good. It is a small win. After a while, when you sort your bed and you go out and you see, array, These books are lying here, things are lying. You start sorting out the other small things in your house and you start keeping them in the proper place. Because now these actions have become muscle memory. And then when you sort out things in your house, you start keeping things in the proper place. You say that, okay, now I need to sort out my finances or not. How do I plan to save money, to sort out my finances? How do I sort out my relationships? It builds with small things, guys. And that takes you to the bigger target. It will take you beyond the target that you have kept for yourself. Target is nothing when action is everything. Right? So make it easy. You're telling your mind that it's not a Herculean task to do it because I'm doing it in solve and slowly or gradually you're improving it. And of course, it should be satisfying. Right? Find yourself to celebrate those small things. आपने एक महीने किया बहुत अच्छी बात है. Talk about it. Have track your progress. Excel, any Fitbit tracker, any trackers. You have so many trackers, so many AI bots and tools online available online today. Let's say you missed something. Every single day you are reading, or every single time every single month you're investing. There will be scenarios where you will miss one day, or you have missed your installment EMI or SIP this month. That is okay. That is okay. But do not miss twice. It is okay. One day you will be absolutely down. You don't want to get up and go for a run. Happens to me also. Happens to me. It is okay. But I ensure that it's not repeated, because if that gets repeated, then that is the action that is getting repeated into my system. And that is now becoming a habit of not doing it. So I don't want to create a habit of not doing it. It is okay to miss for a one day or a one, whatever the one instance is. Do not miss it twice. So make your habits obvious. Keep things in front of a place, in front of a site, because what is in the site, it's in your mind. It will push you. Make it attractive, right? What kind of reward can you get? What are you learning? Make it easy. Break it down into smaller actionables. And it should be satisfying. Try to reward yourself. And if you see everything, every action that you do today, it is because of these things, whether good or whether bad. If there's something bad which you do, if you are spending too much, you're wasting money, because maybe it is obvious to you, because you are in a company of people who waste a lot of money. And you are constantly, they are constantly visible to you, noticeable to you, and you are doing the same thing. Then you are attracted to waste money. Because of wasting money, you are getting some kind of kick, some kind of high, some kind of pleasure. And that is becoming easy for you. First, you spent 100 rupees on something bad. Then you started increasing that to 1,000 rupees. Then, I don't know, you just keep increasing that amount. Slowly, you you're pulled into the bad habit. Even bad habits don't come immediately. You're slowly pulled into it. And somewhere that is giving you some kind of satisfaction. So you are okay. Some other person might say that this is a bad habit, but you cannot see it because you have got into that loop. Please remember this. Habits do not decide what is good or bad. They have just one scientific process. Whatever you do in this fashion, it becomes a habit. It's you who have to be conscious about it and work towards it. Right? Make the good habits easy, while make the bad habits as difficult. If you want to break out from the bad habit, do the opposite of these things. Remove the things from your system. Stop meeting people who, put the bad negatives into you. Stop talking to those people. Stop going to places which force you to act well, bad. If you have an alcohol problem, stop waiting for weekends. Instead, change your weekends to do something healthier. Automatically, you do this for a time, it will change you. But you need to trust the process. You need to trust the 32 degrees where the ice melts. Great. Now you have done all this, and you have kind of understood how to get better at one habit. I gave you an example of how I started with running. I used to weigh 130 kgs. I never ran for even 200 meters, and even if I ran for 200 meters, I used to kind of get breathless. But how do I got to 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers? It's the same steps which I followed. But while doing that, I did not change. See, we are talking about complete transformation, right? We're not talking about changing one aspect of life, because transformation is, I focus on deep transformation, right? Deep coaching, where you're changing as a person completely. You're not just becoming a person who's healthy. You're not just becoming a person who is, saving on money and becoming financially independent. You're looking at the overall structure. And when I coach one to one, I look at people on how are they transforming in all aspects of life, right? So when I started running, okay, and when I got balanced in it, when I got used to it, I got into this habit of listening to books while running. Okay. So we spoke about cue, like if we get up in the morning, we need a cup of tea, right? The same thing was like if it is 8 p.m., I got back from work. I used to work at that time. If I got 8 p.m. became my cue to go out and run. Now running became a cue for me to listen to audiobooks. You get my point? And after when I started listening to audiobooks, I started getting ideas from what I read, from what I learned, from various books, from various authors. And then I used to come down and write. So then writing became a habit from my listening to books. So automatically this got stacked one after the other. So 8 p.m., go for a run. If I'm running, then I need to listen to audiobooks. And if I'm listening to audiobooks and if I'm getting something knowledgeable, I have to write it down. And that's how I was able to write a book. I never wrote a single book in my life. So this is a fundamental called as habit stacking. आप एक अच्छा करते हो, bring in another habit that comes into it. Okay. So that one thing will allow you to get to do the second thing automatically. सुबह उठते हो, दांत घसते हो, तो दांत घसने के बाद चाय चाहिए. So getting up in the morning, the cue is of being hygiene, being fresh. That's how you brush. And the moment you brush, you need tea. The moment you need tea, you get to work. So this is a process, one after the other, which we call as habit stacking. Again, it happens unconsciously. So identify a habit, stack a new behavior, and create larger stacks. Create larger stacks means creating a building of habits. First block is, for me, it was running. The second block was listening to audiobooks, learning. Third was writing. Then from that writing, I became a coach. From coaching, I started doing webinars. From webinars, I do podcasts, everything. So suddenly I see after, and this is not overnight again, this is over a period of time. By doing this over a year, I have changed my identity completely of becoming a transformation coach, right? So what is the formula? What is the winning formula? After a current habit, I will do this, a new habit. After a current habit, I will start doing this. So after coming from the gym, I will only eat healthy food. After eating healthy food, I will wait, spend time with my family. After spending time with my family, I will go to sleep at the right time. So you're putting one activity after the other, and suddenly you see you come out of the habit of spending time unnecessarily on phones, not spending time with family, and so on and so forth. So List out the habits that you need to do each thing every single day. Find out the cues and find out a time and location to do it. Okay. So the idea when you're saying that you need to transform, most of our lives revolve in this fashion. Most of our lives revolve in this fashion. We wake up, first thing we pick up a phone, check emails, messages. We have a rushed breakfast. We douse ourselves with caffeine, tea, coffee. We work, work, work. We break for lunch. Again, we add more caffeine as if it's a drug for us to go on. We work, work, work. We go home. We just get on to in front of the TV and we sleep. How many of us are going through this cycle? So what do we do? Can we shift to this? Wake up, spend some time in meditating and deep breathing. Don't get onto your phone or any gadgets. It's okay, emails can wait. The moment you start reading emails, the first thing you do in the morning, or you start reading messages, you are following instructions of someone else. And that kills your own decision making. So spend some time in meditating, working out, feed your body, set a schedule for your breakfast and try to avoid caffeine. When you get to work, focus on the creative task first, because in the morning your mind is fresh, it's an empty slate. So focus on problem solving, focus on the difficult tasks. Don't get to reading emails and just responding emails first. That you can do afternoon. Don't schedule meetings first thing in the morning where you are just sitting down as an audience, because those are the times when your creativity is at the high. Your ability to think logically is high, but you are wasting those things into activities like answering emails or sitting into meetings which you don't have to talk at all. Right? Then lunch, focus on your calorie intake. After lunch, go for a light walk. Do your work. Reach home on time. Make this a habit. Spend time with family and your friends. Don't get into that vicious cycle of work and sitting down. And then you can wind up your day by reading. You can read something light, or try to have some side hustle. Try to be creative somewhere, in drawing, in painting, in writing, where you are switched off from the other world, and you get into something where you're using your brains, or trying of kind of just tickling your brain cells, and have a sound sleep. And with all that we have spoken, try to implement. Start with small things. The first step is try to just meditate. Don't look at this and say that I want to change all of this in day one. No, this is something that will happen in 2.5 years of time. This you can automate in 2.5 years of time. But there are times which we don't do. And because we carry some delusions in our mind about changing, we say, I don't have enough time. Or we think I'm absolutely perfect and I don't need to change. Or we think I have tried this before, it does not work, so I will give up. Or we think, why do we change now? We're already too old. We have spent our life. Or we think we don't believe the process. Or we keep procrastinating. Isn't it? We have these talks that keep stopping us from the right action. And I have put this point because I know this is quite common amongst us. I have been through this. Thank you very much. So I do this transformation programs. So all that we have learned today, you can probably take a picture of this slide to remind yourself that create habits to define your identity, not to chase a target. Make them obvious and visible. Keep the cues in front of you, remove the bad cues in front out. Prepare habits and list your scheduling daily. Overcome the delusions. Be patient. And after you mastered one habit, stack it with different habits. And always remember to reward yourself, celebrate what you're doing, because that is something which will help you keep going always, and it will kind of reinforce you.